So, hi everybody and welcome back. This is a C++ tutorial series for absolute beginners. This is video 61 and in this video we solve our exercise. So, what was our exercise? We should create a selection menu and print out something on screen if two persons selected the same thing. Of course, you could made it how you'd like it, because this exercise is mainly here to train all the things what we learned so far, and you can make many mistakes, doesn't matter, just try to solve it. And I have a bad news again, this exercise was again too complicated, like the last one. I made again a too complicated exercise for beginners, so if you have not solved it, no problem, does matter, but at least you should try it, because the reason we make exercises not to really solve to really create a program. It is more like that we train these keywords which we learned so far, or all the structures, not only the keywords, how to use variable. That's more even important to use the keywords, because later we must able to handle variables, right? Variables means all the information to achieve our goal. I will show you this in this program, but before I show that, let's see one bad solution which I come up with. It's not good, it was just randomly thrown in, but it works anyhow, and it's not finished because the selection part, this last line which we can see here, is actually too much, too complicated for beginners. And I tried it with this keywords which we learned so far, and actually we need again to solve this in a more easier way, more keywords which we haven't learned so far, and that was the problem. Okay, but let's get started. So the first thing what I did is not this what you see here. This one we can skip, this comes later. The first thing what I did is this here. So I created an output, and on the output I set the customer to type in which person he wants to select. Actually, this was also a bad idea, because I have to select all persons one by one. So I should not choose persons here randomly. I made here a random chooser, which means I asked to select one. And why is that bad? The reason for that is now you can select the same person over and over again, and that should not happen. Of course, you can make then their other logic or the other requirements. That was bad from my side, but I hope you made it better. So anyway, in my case, I made this selecting menu. So how I did this? First of all, I used this word stdc out. We learned this. This is an output. We learned this operator. This is a overloaded outprint operator, and this is our normal quotation marks, and this n escape character n is just for cosmetics, new lines, but it means new line, but in this case that I print out, so it's more visualize, and that's it. So let's go here a little bit more. So I print then one more thing out, all the options which you can choose, and then I created here one more output, and then I created here an input. So you should choose a number here, and my next error is what I made here at the start. You can choose actually or write words, signs, and even floating point numbers, which is not compatible with my created value here. I created here a variable int. We talked about int. Int is a primitive value, and then a variable name. We should all time try to choose a very descriptive name. In this case, it's not even that descriptive. Choose number, but it makes sense anyhow, because you should choose a number, but for what? So here it's not actually enough. I should add more perhaps, but it's okay. And then, to the problem with the more selection, there is something called arrow handling. And actually we have not talked about that, and we will talk this in our future lessons, how we can check for errors and how we can catch them and how we can handle them. There are special things in C++. We have not talked about this, so in this case you still could do something with if statements, of course, but then you have to write 1000 if statements just to check this one. If you have, nice, then you have trained it. If not, no problem, I did it not too. So let's continue. Okay, and then you can save this number, and if you type in, for example, 0, I choose here Maggie. Why I choose here Maggie? Here on top, let me show you that. We have here a list. And what was this? This is an enum class, an enumerator. Important is this is not a variable name. This is a enumerator type, right? This person names. And the problem here is it is not an array, which means I can't select them for an output. So I can't print them. I can't select them for an output. I can just use these values later, well, after I created a variable. So, and what problem is here? And let's say how I solved this. I said, okay, I just write the word which I have, assign a value to it, and after you type in, for example, 0, this is the first person name, Maggie, then I know you have chosen Maggie, right? And that was what I made. Of course, I will use now this information which I save here on the next line. And what is the next line? So right now you type in, for example, just a number. So you type in 0 from Maggie. But how I can choose this now? There are different ways, of course. I said, okay, let's make a switch statement. Let's train a switch statement again. And what is a switch statement again? A switch statement is a keyword which you can use. It needs a condition. In this case, I said this choose number is my condition because I have here options between 0 and 6 actually, but again, we have here actually more because we can write here 7, 8, 9 or any other things. And this one will then, it depends on the case, will do something. And what I wanted to do here is I created a string variable. So what is a string variable again? This is a non-primitive type and which uses this std. We learned this already, and I initialized it by default with empty. This is just an empty sign here. You can make this also a little bit more like this. And this was a normal assignment operator. And don't forget, if you use string, we need again this string library. And for output, we needed, of course, this output library. I think I forget to tell that. For example, we used here this output here, stc out. Need all time this output library on top. It looks like this. So very nice. Let's continue. So the question is, why the hell I used here a switch? And I said this one is a translator for me. If you type 0, it is Maggie, but actually I need this name Maggie here, this name as a string. And the problem was this was not a string. This is a value as from an enumerator class, which I can't use this way. I can use it only, for example, in a switch like I do here, and then I can do something with this value. In this case, it's other. I just say type in the number, then with the number, the case chosen person, the string which I created, I will save then this name here. So I wrote all names again here down, and depends on the number, it will be assigned, and I save the person which you choose here. But like I said, I have not made an error handling, so we can even choose a problem. And here I tried something like a error handling, which we have not discussed like this, but we know there is something like a default, right? And in the default I said, okay, if you choose the choose number is nothing in this case, let's print out something at least and say wrong input. But this will handle it now. This will just give one more output. And okay, cool. And let's see how this looks like. Till the old time, check your code. Like I said, we have to check the code. One more thing here. Of course, this case has here a break statement. Why it has here a break? Because if it's finds, it should stop there. If you don't stop, or if you don't want that it stops here, then you don't use this break. And there are also reasons to do so. Perhaps I have here one. I don't know. Let's continue. Let's test this code so far. So when I start the program, it looks like similar like this one. This group 0, that was just an info. That's not very important. Actually, it starts here. Also, please choose a person by typing in a person number. Okay. And then the options you have is 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then you can type in this, for example, 0. That would be this Maggie. And Maggie will be saved here in chosen number. And then it will continue, but we stop here because this was our first part. Let's go to the next part. Okay, I have the person now. I have finished this person now. And now the person, let's see, the description says the person can choose between book and game. And right here, book and game, and later book color and game platform depends on the selection before. Let's see how I solved that. So after, oops, let's go here down. After I have now saved here the person in choose person, this is finished. Then I go to the next block and say here person can select game or book. So I did what? I did again more or less, I just copied this here. And not the output, of course, but similar to this one, it's absolute similar. This block here and this block look similar. Only the text is a little bit changed. So here I said, please select a book or a game by typing in the selecting number. Again, I used this system with you can choose a number, and then book is 0, game is 1. And then I saved this number again in an int, and this time I choose the name chosen game or book. And of course, this one is not enough, right? We have again to do something. And in this case, I said, okay, I create again, like before, a string. And this string should save then if it's a book. But this time I used a if statement, not a case. Here we used a switch to change a little bit, to train a little bit the if statement. And here I used a if. And you know, the if and the switch are are similar, very similar. You can turn an if statement easy to a switch statement, and you can turn a switch statement easy to our if statement. So that's very easy to represent in this form or in this form. That's very important to know. And then depends on your needs or on your likes, you can choose what you want. So that's that. In this case, I choose a if statement. Okay, if, then I said this chosen game or book, which you selected here. Again, here is the text you select, and then here we will say in, you type in the number. It says here in string, and no, this then I create again a string where I want save book or game, depends on your selection. And this one I do it with this if statement. And I said if it's equal to 0, then you have selected the book. Okay, then I save in this string game or book, which I created here, the book. And if it's equal to 1, and then I know you selected the game, and then I save here the string game or book game. So, and here again, no arrow handling if you type something different. That's again this problem. We have not handled that. You still could do it again, but yeah, no problem if you not did. I did it not. And this is of course not perfect, but that's not so wild here. We learn it. So then let's continue. Let's test this one out. If this one works, so okay, I select now the first. I have to select the person. Let's select this time 1. If this one works, okay. And now it says, please select a book or a game by typing in the selected number. Yes, I can select now, for example, a book. So I type 0, and this one will work so far. Okay, no errors. Here we check here down. Yes, no errors. Perfect. Good. We can go on. So what I did then actually, so we have then the next number. It says here, after we selected a book or game, here after selecting a book, they can select a book color. After selecting a game, they can select a game platform. So we have here a problem now, and the problem is not the problem. More like all time when I say a problem, it means we have to solve something. And what we have to solve here is, because the person which we selected can choose either book or game. So we have to make this anyhow clear what he choose, and then depends on what he choose, we have to select book color or game platform. So how I solved this, I made here, these are actually this is a new block. Here is missing information, so this one we don't make, but here is information. We could add here more comments. I add to less comments. This is also bad, but what I did here is, let's skip these variables. When they are needed, I will explain them. Also, if choose game or book, that was already saved, right? This choose game or book was here on top already. Yeah, we get this information already. So, and here a little info I wrote: book was selected. Also this if statement counts for book was selected, and then it will print out something new. Then it says here, please select a book title by typing in the book title number. And you see I did again the same thing like I did before. Really not so creative. I just copy, paste in, and again I said you have again here the options to select 0 for Joggy and Moggy book, and so on, 1 for the Western story, and then select the title, and then this title will be selected here in this book title selected name. So which means we have to create this variable. I created this variable here over this if, and then I called it book title selected, and then here I created something strange more. Book selected true, but let's skip this because right now this was not the info which we needed. We will talk it when we need it, right? All time when we need it. So, and then the else statement is if a game was selected. So if the person selected the game, I said, okay, it's equal to 1, and then I give him the options to select now a game title again with the same technique like I all time used. I copied this one, it's similar to this, and then I change here the variables and the information here. So this is how I solved that. But how does this work really, right? It's not really clear here, I think, the connection, right? So when we look this, it is choose a book, okay. I mean, first you choose a person, okay, then you jump down and choose a book. But how is this connecting this one now? Because here, choose game or book you say, okay, this choose game or book was, for example, 0, then that means the person before had chosen the book. Let's see what it is. Yeah, in this case it says here, then the person before had selected the book. So it is from code not really clear. What I mean with that is we should normally write here more, this description, what you see here, you should write it here more, more descriptive here on top, perhaps what happens and how this comes, to make it clear. In my case, I wrote here just this little comment here. Yeah, it is not very good. So, and I used also here a little bit less comments. So you see that is also not so very good. And let's continue. Let's see what I did. So, and then with that said, I know, okay, the person has selected one of this two, depends on this variable. So I know it only because this one variable here, and this one comes right after this one. So in a loop, right? We will see this here later. Not in a loop, it's just right after this one, actually, through this variable. So let's continue here and see what happens. Okay, and then I have here even made here an else input, again wrong input. This is not a real error handling, but it is the start of a information. For example, this chosen game or book was again a number 4 or a word, and then it says I have no clue what you typed in. So let's test this code also fast. So let's see. It starts, the first thing what you type in is a person. Okay, let's start with Maggie again, 0. Then the second person is you choose the book or game. Okay, I choose the book, 0. And then you can now, because I choose the book, I have the option to choose the book titles, and you can see these are the book titles: 0 for Jockey and Monkey, and 1 for the Western Story, and 2, and so on. So I choose Jockey and Monkey here, and it will continue. So this one is good. We choose all things, but we have not chosen actually what we have not chosen. We have not chosen actually book colors, right? We have to choose this book colors actually, and this is our next step. But how we are doing this? So, and here, by the way, it goes here not on with book colors. I made the second option here the same like before, but with the PC, with the game titles. It's similar to the other one, just when the chosen, let's say here, where is this? Here, this chosen game or book was not this one. What is that book selected? It said true. Yeah. Chosen book color. Yes. So in here, where's this other way, by the way? Ah, no, it's here. Sorry for that. That was a mismade. Here was the game selected, and here we are indeed going to the person can select a book color or platform game. I write it here. I can't only read it. Okay, now we see the person can select the book color or the game platform. So what I did there again, and here we have again a little bit of change. What is the change here? When we go on top, we have here string arrays, and it's already provided, right? And that was already here provided, but here we have again string array. But here, interesting, we have again an enum class, which means I can't use these names again. That is all time annoying, really annoying, because normally we won't use that. And what I did there is, okay, we have to find the solutions. There are many solutions, but what I did is, okay, I say, if I have an enum class, why not why not change it to an array? Because you are the programmer, you get the information like here, but that means not you have to use this information like you get it. You can do with this information when you get it whatever you want. When it makes your life easier, change this information, right? What I mean with change information is not change this information which stands here in it, change the form of the presentation in coding. For example, here we have an enum, but I need this one, this PC names and so on in an array, right? Like this one, like the other ones here, they are wonderful in an array. Why is array good? Array, we can loop through and we can select easy, and then we can use the names very easy. Here we have a problem. We can just select this. We can create a value with this enum class, but I mean a variable, and then use this as a value input, but that's it. We can't put them out, print them out really, and so on. So what I did is just easy. I said, okay, I write this enum class in what we have here as an array. So I just write here std string, and careful, this is the type, and therefore let me show what I did here. Actually, I write here std string, and then I give it a new name. This is the variable name, very important, not the type. And then I write all the information from the enum class here. Then I have this PC, PlayStation, Xbox, Switch, and mobile as an array. So now I have changed the form, and that's very important in programming too. You don't have to use, for example, external in data like they came in. For example, they came in as, I don't know, string or int. You can change and cast it to other. Okay, we have not learned cast, but later you can change them to other forms, which is easier to handle for you, and you have to do sometimes this. And this was one case. Yeah, and that's very important to know. And let's continue. And then after I did that, I said, okay, now book selected true. Wait a minute, where comes this book selected true and where comes this game selected true? We have here not variables for that, right? The point is, before we was here in the other section where it says the person can select the game or book, and down here he selected, for example, already a book, or he selected already a game. In this block, I wrote at the same time book selected. So I created a variable here on top. It was this time a boolean, and I said book selected to true if it's book selected. And here on bottom, I created a variable, also a boolean, but this time game selected to true, because both can't be at the same time true. One of them is true, and that's the information which I created from get from here and used later here down to as an output. So this book selected is set here. Book selected true is set here. So if this is then true, so I just check this is a boolean, and I check if this is equal to true, then I print again, like all time. What I did is again this information. Then you can choose again with 0. You can change, also you can choose again one of these book colors here by typing in a number, and then this one will be saved in this choose book color, which I created here, this variable. And the same goes for game selected. If this was true, I used here again a if else structure, and here I even don't use an else structure because you can use it this way too. So that's very simple. So I simplified this. Here was the tricky part, that I created a variable on another place and used it here, right? This variable was not created here. And about variable we will talk anyway, because like I said, normally you write variables on top, but we have not talked about that very in detail, why you should write variables on top, what's the reason for that, because you can't write all variables on top, and the reason will be later scope and fast access. But that we won't talk later when we learn what scope is and this fast access. Actually, this fast access would make here sense. What I mean with fast access is if you write, for example, all the variables like here on top, right, without this comments, of course, it was just for this description, and then you can just scroll on top and then you see all the variables which are declared and which you are using, and then you don't have to search like me, for example, going in and trying to find it where I have declared this variable, or if I have declared this variable, and so on, because then you know it's on top. But here, very important, they are all global variables. That's why this works on top. There are later also something like local variables, which we can't write on top. And this we will discuss when we learn scope and so on later. Not right now. Let's continue. So with that said, what I did here is, again, that was the tricky part really was here, that you convert this enum in an array, and then you can use this information again. It makes the life very easy. I just used it, and let's test this one out as well. Let's see, 0, let's choose this time 1 for Levin, and let's choose a game this time, 1 for game, and let's see, I can choose now the game title. I choose Monopoly. And now you see, this is the part. Now I can choose a game platform, and this one I converted from an enum to a string array, and this time let's use PC, and then it will, and here you see later what comes out in a moment. So, but that's that. Let's scroll a little bit down and print out person selection. And now we are talking about this part, which is a problem. We have to print out their selection, and the selections is both lines make big problems. Actually, the last line make the biggest problem at all. But yeah, let's try first of all this print out all their selections. How you want print out now all their selections? The way I solved this is, let's see what I did there. First of all, I started with a if statement, and then let's see what I did. I don't know what I did there. And then I started here, I say here string, game, or book. So this descriptive variables helps me now a little bit to understand the code, but better would be, of course, to write here a comment what this section does. This is not very good handled. Normally you would write here some really, so in a little section, and describe what all the things what you are going to do here is doing. So not too long, but not too less too. So in this case, I make a if statement. So with other words, I check all the code, and if they are equal to book, and if they are equal to book, this is again a special a print out technique, or just one render, just one founded. So you can, if it's equal to book, you can write as they say output, and then the person's number, person count number. This one is not very important. That was just for I don't know. Person count number is not very important actually, because this one is important here. As they did say out, then the person, and then I have saved the person in choose person. That was the variable which we created here on top, right? So we created here choose person, right? And this person will be saved after we choose this number, and this choose person will be assigned with the right person. And here we save that. So what I did in the end here is I've just found all the variables where they were saved on top, and then I use them here on bot. So here was a person, then choose, then string, game or book. So then string, game or book was here to be also they can choose here game or book. So let's see, and a way to find these variables also, if you have a very bad organization like me, is you can, let me show you this too, you can right click on this one in Visual Studio. Of course, if you use another, it's another way, but right click and go, for example, to definition, or peak definition is even also nice. And then you see you can click this away with peak definition. Go to definition would go directly to this point. And here, std string, okay, I have saved it here. I have not saved, I have declared it here, initialized it empty, and later I have assigned book or game here. And then after you peaked, you can close it. Now I know, okay, it was anywhere on top. And then I said with title, and then this looks a little bit strange. What I did here, look this, what I have here. I have here something like books. Then I have here something like an array, and then I have again a variable name. So in the end, this one, this books, is something, let's use this peak technique again. Peak, a right click on this, hover over the mouse, right click, and then peak definition, and we see selected books goes to string books, which means this one was one of this on top here that was given, so I can see this there. And but what is this book's title selected? This variable I have created, but okay, why I have this one here? Makes this sense? And let's peek this also. I see this book's title selected will be set here with book or with game. One of this, okay. And then make this sense. Let's go here again. And that makes here not, oh, I have said it wrong, sorry. Because we have here, let me start explaining it. So we have here a books. A books is here and string array. And we talked already array. This is direct, this is here assigned directly here. And we have here no slot numbers, but what I'm using here is actually a slot number, right? This book title selected will try to find one slot number. And when I click now here, let's close this one first and go again to this one, peak definition. And this book selected, this book title selected is actually a int, which means this one isn't integer number. But how I set this is very important. And this book selected, title selected, will be selected here. So I have again to choose between 0 is Maggie, and then I will write, for example, let's say I write Jockey and Moki with 0. So this one becomes 0. And then let's go with 0 to books again. Let's see what happens here. Peak definition. So when you go with 0, and it will Jockey and Moki here. So which means this whole thing what I made here is just using an array, not more. And only the difference is it was not so clear where this book title selected comes from. So we learned here that we can create variables who are integers who will be assigned later, and then we use that later to use this array here. Yes, something like that. And then the next part is similar to this one. That looks again like that what I talked here. Let's repeat it fast. What happens here? We go to books color, let's peek definition, and we see this is also array. And an array, this one, okay, we know this one, this chosen book color should be an integer. We can peek how this integer is created. I see, okay, it was here defined, but assigned was it here down again with choose book color with the 0. I could again write a number in which color, which book color I want. And then I have this number selected, and this is then later equivalent to that color. Here are very important information. What I have forgotten to say is when I created this, let's go here again. When I created this choose book selected color, I know that an array starts with 0. That's why I started here also with 0, 1, 2, 3, and not with 1, 2, 3, what a normal person would expect, because a normal customer, for example, a non-programmer, starts all time with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and so on. Only programmers know most time they start with 0, and this one I made intentionally so because I know arrays start all time with 0, and later when I loop or something like that, I can use that. But to make it more consumer friendly, you should normally not print out 0, but it's possible. But you can convert this later also internally. It's just more code to write. Okay, we have understand this, and we see this works anyhow. But what the hell is that? What comes here, and what is that? It comes here again. What are this kind of stuff? So, and let's see. It says here switch person count number. So again, very bad, no comment what this switch statement is at all. You see, comments should be held, and at this point it should not describe this keyword. That makes no sense, right? I know this is a switch statement in case, but what the hell we do here? That should the comment describe, because right now when I read it, I have no clue. And that was bad. You see, in this complete code what I wrote, there was almost all time comments missing. That's very bad. Let's continue and see what's more bad. Let's see, what is this doing? Person counts number, and I have here something like person count number. Let's peek where I defined it again. Okay, int the person count number. Now it makes a little bit more sense. This one is the part which I have not discussed with you so much. Okay, so because here when we read this this task, print out person selection, because this one is just one person, right? Till now we have printed out one person, and actually I want print out more person. Actually that's also not true. This one is doing something else. Let's see what it does. Let me see this fast. What I did here? Why the hell I did this? Book chosen group 0. Okay. Okay. Let me peek this one fast. You see, that would make sense to make this one. Okay, I did this prepare for the other one, for later use cases. All right, this is not true what I said. This has nothing to do with the while loop. This one is for a later reason here. Let's write it here, a comment. Compare. Right now it's a bad description, but compare will give me a hint what this is. And let's jump on top here, because the problem here was, let me go on with that. This one is only for one person till now, right? We did all that for one person. And let's check if this works so far for one person. And when we go out, we go here. We say, first of all, we select again. I select Maggie again. I select the book. I select Joggy and Moggy. And I select again the red book color. And I press enter. And this one, what you see here, person Maggie, choose book. This is exactly this part here, what we can see here. It starts not here. This person count number is also here. Is 0 right now. But here is the real thing. Person here. Choose book. Later what we chose. I choose book here. I can check it. Anywhere on top I choose books. Because I selected 0. 0 was book. I scroll it a little bit up here. 0 is book. And I selected book. Yes, it's fine. Then with title. And we can see, yes, books. And then this book's title selected with title Joggy and Moggy. Is this true? Let's check it. Yes, I selected here 0. It was Joggy and Moggy. Joggy and Moggy and the book color red. So it looks nice. And this one is only for one person. But we have to continue here. And how we can continue? We learned something like loops, right? Yeah, different way of loops. There is a while loop, do while loop, for loop so far, and I think the 3 loops we learned so far, and I choose in this case a while loop. So, and how I did this, I made it very easy. The whole code, what we did so far, it was, I think, till here. Okay, this one later, let's count this not, but till here, normally till here, I put all this code just in a while loop. And you see, I write a while, I put them in. And if you have formatting problem, don't forget select all in Visual Studio and then press K and then F. And then it will format. It automatically will format means here it will make here the intention and so on right in the position. And then I put this all in, and then I defined this while loop. How many persons I have? I count just the persons. I see there are 7 persons, I think. This one here, okay, 7 persons, which means I need just a while loop with 7 loops. So, and how I made this? A while loop needs all time variable. And what kind of variable? A person count number. So which other words is normally is my while loop person count number. So I should write here while loop, but nah, it's okay. I know it. But if I write here while loop person count number, would be more clear that this one is connected to this while loop. And then I can use this person count number here. And then I use this less operator. Why will you use less 7 and not less equal 7? Because we start with 0. I have defined it that I start here with 0. That's why less than 7. And then I have 7. That's okay. And that was it for the while loop actually. This one will be called after it finish and print out it one time. It will jump on top and start asking it again. The whole thing what I did so far. And actually that was this print out section, right? And what comes next is even worse than what it was here, because I made here already many things. It's not good, it's not perfect commented, it's not error ending, but you see it works, right? Oh, and that's our goal. Train it and make it work. So here I select this time 1, I select this time the game 1, and I select this 0 here, and I select this one here 0. Let's see, and it starts again. And I have to do this actually for all 7 persons now. That is a little bit much typing and so, and it will go. You see, I don't do it now for all, and continue with the explanation. So let's see what the problem is now. All works, all is fine, but the problem is, and I think this line of, if you did it so far till this point, that's already absolute astonishing and good for a beginner. If you don't do this one, it's okay. This one is too crazy actually for beginners. It should be not made by beginners. It should not be made by anyone. No, joking. But yeah, this one is real. I have not solved it till the end because I found a solution which you should never use, and I will show it to you now. And it's not a perfect solution, it's even a bad solution, a very, very bad solution. But you will see what I mean with that in a moment. So, what is the problem with this line? I think I should make here a pause, because this one line here will need actually almost the same amount of time what we talked here, because it's so complicated. So let's make a pause, and in the next video I show you the half solution of this one, because I was too tired to go on, and then I talk about some important things and not so important things what you have to consider on this exercises. All right, see you in the next video, and if you have any question, ask in the comments. I will try to answer them, and good luck. Bye.